you can never have enough books. Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Florence and today I'm back with a book haul, a library book haul. I did not buy any of these books. All of these books were borrowed from my local library because consumption, no, we have to cut down on our consumption and especially our consumption of books. And I am privileged to say that I live in a country that has a functioning library. I live in Germany, so the local library carries lots of books that are in German. And I have to stop waiting for them to bring these books or books that I love in English because it takes time and the options are very, very limited. So I have decided to read books in German. Actually stop being lazy and read books in German. So first and foremost is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is a reborrow. I borrowed this book towards the end of last year because I thought that I would read it when I was on my New Year break, but I never managed to read it. And because it's on the list of the bestseller books, you're not allowed to borrow it for more than 4 weeks. So I had to bring it back. So I remember when I brought it back and I asked the librarian if I could reborrow it. And she was like, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. But then later she actually gave it to me again. And I now just have it on a normal borrow. So I believe I can have it for 2 months. I think that is enough time for me to read it. I have it as an audiobook in English, but this is the German version. So I just want to have something that I can always look back into and scroll through, like when I'm listening, but I'm also like scrolling through. I think that's really great. And then I have it to take photos for my reviews for Instagram and for booktok. So I think everyone has read this apart from me. I'm enjoying reading it. I think I'm on like chapter 8 or something. I'm not so sure. I can't really remember which chapter I'm in, but it is a slow burn. Can I call it a slow burn? Sally Rooney uses a lot of words. It's just like a meandering of words, but I like it. I'm enjoying it. And basically it's a book that details or explores grief, love, and family as experienced by two brothers, Peter and Ivan Kobek. And it starts where they've just lost their dad and they've gone for the funeral. And then we kind of are introduced to the characters of the two brothers. I'm enjoying it and hopefully I will give a review on it when I'm done. It's my first Sally Rooney book, and I remember the librarian was amused, and she came to me later when I was leaving, and she was like, have you read her other book? I said, no more people know I haven't. This is my first book. And she was like, I've also not read any of her books, but Normal People is a series, and I want to watch it. And she was like, and it is starring so and so. I have no idea. I just said, yeah. And she was really, really excited for the series. I was just surprised, like, you are a librarian. You sit here with books. I would read. Nah. Maybe she separates work from hobbies. So it was just nice to talk to a librarian about a book. So this I hope to finish soon. The next book is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And I also have this as an audiobook because it was a free audiobook. I found it on Audible and it was free of charge to download it. So of course I did that. And I started listening to it. I think maybe, I don't know how far I went, but it was very difficult. I was wishing I had the physical copy. It was first published in 1890 and it's the only novel by Oscar Wilde. And it explores the myriad interrelationships between art, life, and consequence. And of course, we all know about the Dorian Gray and his picture, and a trade-off that he did. So I'm looking forward to reading it, because I've watched movies and films where stories about him come up. And I recently just went to an exhibition where there was a photo that was also talking about him, which I found very, very interesting, because the exhibition was about flowers, and it talked about it, like detailed the story of how Oscar Wilde used to put on like a green flower um, to um, to symbolize his sexuality. I believe he was queer. Yeah, I believe he was queer. So in those times, people used flowers to kind of announce their sexuality, and other people didn't know, and it was just like a community thing, which I find very interesting. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and it's quite small, so I think I should not take too much time with it. Next is Violeta by Isabel Allende, and I believe it was originally written in Spanish. So this is a translated fiction, yeah. And it is the epic story of Violeta, a woman called Violeta del Valle, and her life, her tumultuous and interesting and adventureful life, which um, spans 100 years, from I think 1920 to 2020. And it just, like, she bears witness to so much, the greatest upheavals of like the 20th century. So like I can just imagine a 100-year-old woman telling us a story about her life. And coincidentally, I went to a book club meeting. We just, like, it was our first meeting, so we didn't know each other, and we were like asked to say, to say which book we love the most, like our favorite read. And one lady mentioned Violeta, and I'd never heard of it. So I was really surprised to see it at my local library. So I picked it up. It's in German. I will struggle. I will struggle through it, but I will read it. I will read it. Next is a Caribbean book, a Caribbean pick. And I believe I saw Book of Sins. If you follow her on Instagram and on booktok, she's a book influencer who is Caribbean based, and she started a hashtag Read Caribbean, where she encourages people to read books by Caribbean. And she has introduced me and so many people to an amazing Caribbean authors and Caribbean written books. And this is one of them. In English, it's titled How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps the House by Sherry Jones. And it's a debut novel, which, from what I've read, requires trigger warnings for like a lot of things. But it is set in Barbados, which I've never read any book by Barbados. Like, but for me, Barbados is Rihanna. Like, Rihanna is equals to Barbados is equals to Rihanna. So this is quite interesting, and the story follows like 4 different people who live on a beach in Barbados, and they are desperate to like escape that the legacy of their lives and the legacy of violence in this so-called paradise that everyone talks about. So I'm really, really excited to read it. The next book is, I don't know the English title, so I'm just going to read out the German title. If you know the English title, please let me know. I have searched and searched for it. I couldn't find it. It's Wo ich wohne, ist der Mond ganz nah. And it's by Cho Nam Jo. I believe she's a Korean author. And the book is details or explores what it is like for like a 30-year-old single woman who is, she's unemployed and living in Seoul, Korea, a city that is expensive. And just, yeah, the book explores like dreams and shattered hopes of, for a future, for a better future for people who are living in Seoul or Korea at that time. Something that is current, and I think something that is mirrored all over the world, especially in big cities. So I love that it speaks to the moment. It speaks to the time that we are in right now. I just wish I knew the English title. Yeah, looking forward to reading this. And then last but not least is Birthday Girl by Haruki Murakami with illustrations from Kat Mensching. And I was so surprised when I saw this because I was going through, there's a hashtag going around, it's called Japan in January, where people are, it's a hashtag to encourage reading of Japanese authors in January. And I've seen it going around, but I was like, Flo, you have enough books. Look at me picking up a book by a Japanese author. So I was walking in the library, and suddenly I saw like Haruki Murakami's section, and I have only read one of his books. It was called Norwegian Wood, and that book shattered me into like pieces, like cracked me into pieces. And I remember just thinking, ooh, do not pick another of his book if this is how his books are. So I've been shying away from his books a lot. I think I've borrowed a book of his and brought it back without reading it. But then when I went to I will see if I can have like a short clip about it. I was just going through, and then I saw like a slim book in between the thick books. I was like, maybe I should give this a try. And then I pulled it out and saw the cover and the title, and I was like, you're coming home with me. No discussions, no need to discuss anything. And especially because it's illustrated. I love books that are illustrated. So then when I came home, then I'd never seen this book. I've never seen anyone share it. So I went online to just find out like more about it. I found out that it's a graphic novel, which for the first time is like part of like Haruki Murakami, a series called Manga Stories. And this is the first of the 3 volumes, which like it's a collection of different of short stories that are like Murakami's best-selling short stories. So it's like a collection of his best-selling short stories. And for the first time this has been done. So I'm just like, wow, I'm lucky to have seen it. And it follows the story of a woman who it's her birthday and she's working. So she's telling a friend, this happens to her. So she's telling her friend the story of like this surreal encounter that she had on her 20th birthday. She's working at a hotel. She's a waitress at a restaurant. And then her boss asks her to deliver something to him, asks her to deliver something to him, to serve him. And when she does that, he tells her he can grant her one wish, just one wish. And that's what the story entails, what happens after that. So I'm excited. I'm already reading it, so I will definitely share my review when I'm done. So I'm just like, I'm excited. As you can see, I think I've made a decision to not wait for things to happen, not wait for my library to give me books in English. And I think it will also help me, of course, improve my reading in German. I rarely read in German because English is my second, third language. English is my third language, but in Kenya, that's what we learned in school. So, and it's the first thing that comes to, I think, yeah, it's the first language that comes out of my mouth most of the time. So, I have been lazy to read in German, but I've just decided stop it because there are so many. My library has so many amazing books. So I can't just keep on having the excuse of the books are in German. So yeah, I can't wait to share my like reading experience in German, and I hope it might encourage anyone who is like bilingual or multilingual to try out reading in the language that they are not the strongest in. Yeah, and I hope to come back to share my review on these. Are there any books that are you multilingual or yeah, are you multilingual, and what is your experience of reading in the different languages, and how is your speed? How is your speed? Because my speed is terrible, but I hope to improve on that. Yeah, so hopefully I will review these soon. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Just even leave a book emoji in the comment section if you don't know what to comment. And hopefully you'll join me on my next video. Don't forget to follow me on booktok and on TikTok and on Instagram, and also on my website and my podcast that you can listen to. Thank you so much, and bye. Bye. Bye.